Welcome to Let's Have a Chat, where we talk with inspiring leaders about their future goals and what drives their success. Today, I'm excited to introduce to you our guest, Jenny. Welcome and thank you for joining us, Jenny.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Jenny, tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Jenny?
A very young, ambitious young woman. When I say young, it's how you feel, obviously.
Yes.
So don't let the gray hair fool you. But I do have quite a few years in the industry under my belt. I've been in the industry for a little over 2 decades now. And I've been very fortunate to be in the pioneering phase of sustainability. And now, 25 years later, that has become a competitive edge for the industry. And my previous employer, where I had the opportunity to develop the sustainability concept, is being used by mining companies all around the world as a best practice. So I'm very proud to have been part of that phase. And at some point, I wanted to see what I could do beyond the opportunity that I was given under employment.
Yes.
So I started my own consultancy firm in sustainable development, conducting feasibility studies for exploration companies in various parts of the world. And then the 2008 World Economic Crisis hit, and sustainability was all of a sudden no longer on the agenda. No company wanted to invest or budget for it, for that matter. So I felt that it was time to add some new services to my agency. And that's when I started to attract incredibly talented consultants from all over the world. And we made that leap from sustainability into corporate finance, corporate restructuring, debt restructuring for companies, especially after the economic crisis. A lot of companies needed to recover. A lot of companies needed a hand to get out of the turmoil. And while we were doing that, that was a nice 10 years. We were able to help a lot of companies recover. Then COVID hit.
Yeah, the pandemic. We all know about the pandemic.
So let's say it's never been a dull moment, but I have been very, very fortunate and very blessed to have gone through this 25-year journey in the industry.
So that's one of the biggest moments in your career. Do you have more biggest moments in your career?
Well, it's how you define biggest. Biggest can be highs.
Yes.
Definitely, what I've just mentioned is definitely a high. But it's also lows. But from the lows, you grow, you learn, and you grow.
You grow.
And you become better.
That's correct.
You become the better version. So one of the lows would have been when I first started out as a young mining technician for one of the world's largest mining companies. Basically, my whole world was evolved around the core values of that company. Basically, my whole identification as a human being became about my career and my employer. When I branched out and decided to stand on my own 2 feet, that was the biggest challenge, to discover that I had not developed any social skills during that time. I had no identity of myself. So how was I able to talk to people about live your truth, live your values, if I didn't even know what mine were at the time? So that low in my life led to a massive struggle, massive battle with depression, and a lot of struggles with my mental health, obviously. But to be able to overcome that, to be able to sit here today and talk about it on camera, is again that learning curve of becoming the better version of yourself.
Okay. So the main mission of your work at GDM Management Consulting, can you share the main mission with us?
So GDM management consulting, we're not just a regular type consulting, the traditional kind, okay? So we are operators. So what we do is we take companies out of default and we transition them from red to green, and then we make them greener, right? So who doesn't love money?
Everybody.
Who doesn't love making money,
Yes.
right? And sometimes companies are struggling to get to that next level of, and that's where we come in, especially around the Caribbean and in our region. We have a lot of small, medium enterprises. A lot of those are family owned. That is a plus, but it can also be an obstacle at times in terms of growth and development. So when companies get to that point where they're struggling, that's where we offer our services. And we come in and we restructure and we redesign and we create a sustainable revenue model. We operate it for a little while we build internal capacity, because eventually you have to give that concept back to the owners. So we build that capacity internally, and once we feel that we're on a certain level of growth and that revenue model is generating, we give it back. We give the company back.
So what are your key responsibilities in that case as a managing director?
So my key responsibility would be for me to do the intake, design the project from different angles. Obviously, you consider a few angles when you do restructuring. So one would be the financing side of the business. The other one would be the operating side of the business. You look at innovativeness and digital solutions. How is that explored and applied to grow the business? So basically, we design from all different aspects. People and culture, very important. People don't like to change.
Yes, of course, we know.
Right?
Yeah.
So communication plans, stakeholder assessment plans. So we design it. So that's how I do that with my team. And then I put the right expertise together. I source the expertise from all over the world. I put a project management team together, and that's how we go about it.
How would you describe your leadership style?
Well, you have to ask my wonderful team for that.
Okay.
But I think they would appreciate it if I would be honest.
Yeah.
I'm very strict and I set the bar very high, but I'm also a very kind and gentle person. From Monday to Friday, we don't make jokes at the office. So we are very strict. But then on Fridays, we have happy hour. We have the best time. So yeah, I would say my leadership style in general is inclusive, because I appreciate each and every one of my team members. They bring a unique set of skills and competence to the workspace. We complement each other. As a managing director, it's not expected to know everything. Your main role and your task is to find the compromise amongst the team, motivate the team.
Yeah, that's how you keep your team motivated.
Exactly. And for you basically to be their backbone. If they execute, for me to give them that support. And of course, we might disagree, and that is also very healthy in the workspace. And we should disagree, because it's not a one-man show. So just based on that, I would say inclusive, a lot of openness, a lot of communication, a lot of transparency.
As a leader, how do you balance your work and a private life?
Interesting question. The question we should ask, do I have a private life?
Do you have a private life? It's not for the TV, no. But how do you have a balance in work?
And it's challenging at times. It's challenging at times. I always thought if I would work for myself, I would have more free time. And a lot of other entrepreneurs will be able to validate this. You work harder. You work twice as hard.
Yes.
The difference is though, when you do what you love to do, when you work with passion and out of a place of authenticity, that is creating such a happiness. It gives a lot of satisfaction. So you don't mind the long working hours. Your job becomes fun. And that's what you want to have. You want to have that level of satisfaction.
You need to do what you love.
Exactly. So if you miss out on a happy hour every now and then, or if you sacrifice the theater or a performance, or you miss out going out with girlfriends or hanging out with friends, that sacrifice is worth it.
Okay. So we're living in a positive work environment, but it's a changing world. So do you have any advice for new leaders to compare with that?
Advice for new leaders. How will I put this? We have to embrace the new times that we're living in. There is an extreme generational gap between the generation that I come from and that the generation that is now arriving into the workspace. How do we bridge that gap? The older generation needs to first acknowledge that what we brought in the workspace 25 years ago is not relevant to today. And what the younger generation needs to understand is that the expectation that the older generation places on work ethics and work disciplines, it comes from a place of experience that created the success that we are experiencing today. And that's where the gap is, because the younger generation is in a rush, wants to get everything done today, wants everything done immediately, does not consider the risks, does not consider the broader scope of things. That's where the older generation complements, because they already gone through that journey. So young leaders, you gotta listen and work with your old leaders. And yes, they might be obnoxious and annoying at times, and I get that. We are, obviously, we are. But it's not something that just popped in our heads. We're not doing it to be disrespectful. We're not doing it because we are afraid of losing our jobs, because this one is one that you'll hear a lot in the workspace. Oh, that person is above a certain age, they need to go, they don't, right? No. That person is there with a number of years of experience.
So we are in Guyana at the International Business Conference. How does being part of IBC Guyana helps your company's growth?
So for GDM, being part of the IBC is to showcase one of the companies that we took out of default in Suriname, and we transformed that company into one of the most successful, leading and fastest growing companies in the Suriname business environment. And that is a company called Mine Services Suriname. It's a company that's been around for 20 years. And up to 3 years ago, basically only the people that did direct business with the company were aware of the company. But it's a company that works in the niche industry. It has a very select offer in terms of goods and services, and it services the top 10 sectors in Suriname. So it's a very crucial part of the supply chain of the industry. Now, then you would wonder, how is it that nobody knows who you are and what you do? So 4 years ago, GDM took over that company and transformed it, firstly from default into break-even. And then we made the leap from break-even into profitability in less than 2 years. Now that sparked the interest of investors, obviously. It sparked the interest of the community, but it also sparked the interest of the whole Guyana business community. Guyana, French, and when I say Guyana, it's Guyana, Suriname, and French Guyana, and the region. So for that purpose, we figured, okay, this would be a really good opportunity to showcase what we've done. And if there are any other companies, organizations that are interested in having a chat to us and sharing in the experience of going through transformation in a very short period of time and make it profitable, that they can come and see us and share the experience.
So the importance for you of the IBC for Suriname, Guyana, and the Caribbean, the region, is to work together.
100%.
Okay.
100%. Collaboration is how you get it. Our communities are way too small to try and reinvent ourselves. Yeah. We need to bring our skills and expertise together to grow as a region.
Yeah. Okay. So that was our interview for today.
It was lovely being here with you, Priscilla. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for joining and for sharing your insights as a leader. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for watching this episode of Let's Have a Chat. Thank you for watching and stay tuned at ATV for the next episode when we will share insights of another leader.